Okay, so I decided to start the route here considering the intro is pretty much the same no matter which girl you choose. And before I do start this playthrough of Sayori, I do want to point out that you guys seem to really love her. Like, I saw this poll on Twitter, which please follow me, we can talk and stuff. And a lot of posts on Reddit related to Blue Skies that aren't spoiler related, so I don't really know what's happening in the Sayori route, or the Natsuki route for that matter. That you guys really love Sayori. I don't really know why, and I do hope that that very, very huge love for Sayori rubs off on me because, well, I don't know what to expect. Okay. So I kinda have a hard time distinguishing Sayori words from Yuri words, but as long as it seems bittersweet. That's the word, bittersweet. Alright then. Which among these, promise. Okay, that's a good start. Wait. Jump? I should have known it's a Natsuki word. This seems to be harder than I thought. Okay, I think I got most of them right. I think. Last one. Which one? I don't really know. Okay, nice. I think I got most of them. Midas, fancy meeting you here. Yeah, what a coincidence, huh? Seriously speaking though, I'm happy to see you back here. I would have been disappointed if you ran away from us, haha. Hey, I enjoyed myself last time, so why wouldn't I come back? True enough. Feel free to make yourself at home before we start our club activities. Thanks, will do. Well, I'm back at the Virtue Club. Sayori and I were the last one to come in, so everyone else is already hanging out. Midas, glad to see you're here again. Who knew that something so simple would warrant such thanks? First Monica and now Yuri. I know that it may be overwhelming to be thrown into a new hobby so suddenly, much as an organization centered around the hobby. So don't hesitate to let me know if you ever need any help. Or any other club member for that matter. That is to say, so feel free to ask any one of us for assistance. Right. Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Don't worry though, it's not like I've never read anything before, haha. I even remember to write a poem for the day if you'll believe it. We'll believe it when we see it. Hey, it's not like I need to have a university degree to write a poem. It was just like any other school assignment. Well, no, it might be a little new to me. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to write a bad poem, you mean? She got me there. And that's why I never said I wrote a good poem. Husky smirks at me, seemingly pleased that I'm not offended by her teasing. Well, good is often subjective when it comes to subjects like these. I'm sure you'll do fine, Midas. Or you did fine. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Yuri. Try not to overhype my work, though. Yeah, Yuri, if you keep your expectations low, you'll never be disappointed. Besides, I bet this is the first extracurricular Midas has done since high school started. So extra work is probably really foreign to him. Again, she's not wrong, but she doesn't have to say it like that. Natsuki, you're being unfairly harsh. When I do your route, you're going to regret it. Midas, what would you say your main hobbies are? Wow, she's really putting me on the spot here. I know I'm playing and you're teasing right now, but yes, I spend a lot of my time playing games and watching anime. That's all you need to know. That's a bit rich coming from someone who keeps her manga collection in the club room. Natsuki splutters to a halt. Looks like a certain someone knows how to dish out but can't take it. Manga is literature. Swiftly defeated, Natsuki plops back into her seat. Don't worry, guys. Midas always gives it his best as long as he's having fun. He's always been there when I need it. When we were kids, he'd always be around to help me with stuff. So you two are childhood friends. I glanced at Sayori. Despite her cheery recollection of her childhood memories just then, Yuri's question is just a reminder that I haven't spent much time together in a long time. It's a tad awkward. Yeah, we've known each other for a while, haven't we, Sayori? We smile at each other, really hoping that we can use the club to reconnect. And believe me, Midas, you're gonna do something more than just reconnect with Sayori right now. Such a history with one another. I imagine you've shared much together. You could say that. Would you believe Sayori is still as clumsy now as she was 10 years ago? Hey, Mimi, that's not true. Oh? Need I tell you about the time you tried to cook lunch and almost set the house on fire? Her face turns pink as she rushes to interrupt me. Anyway, I'm sure you can be just as good of friends. After all, you're both in the literature club now. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yuri looks hopeful at hearing this. Although I can't help but wonder, given the maturity and the intelligence she brings so elegantly, and her passion for reading is much stronger than my own, how will it be easy as Sayori thinks it is? Still, worth a try. Yay! Oh, Yuri even brought something today, you know? Wait, Sayori... me? It's not much, really. Don't be shy. It's really nothing. Whatever it is, I'm sure I'll like it. What is it, Yuri? Sayori made it sound like a big deal, but it's really not. I was gonna give it to you in an appropriate time, but... I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking. Now I've ruined the surprise. Two girls looked dolefully down. I guess it's up to me to rescue the situation. Hey, don't you worry about it. First of all, I wasn't expecting anything in the first place. But this is still a pleasant surprise to me. Just knowing that you went through that effort to get something for me makes me feel really welcomed. No matter what, I'm sure it'll make me happy. Is that so? Of course. Thanks for being so considerate though, Yuri. You're welcome. Just the least I could do. Anyway, if that's the case, here it is. Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book. Isn't that the book from yesterday? Upon seeing the confused look on my face, she hastens to explain. I thought you might like it, so have your own copy. So you can read it on your own as well. Honestly, I don't know what to say. How is it that she's only known me for a day, yet she's already done something this thoughtful for me? Yuri, thank you. That's really thoughtful of you, but you didn't have to do that for me. I feel kind of bad. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for that. I just I understand if you don't want to read with me anymore, so... Honestly, she gets more adorable by the minute. I'm still having a hangover from Yuri's mouth. Please, it's fine. I'd love to read with you. I just wasn't expecting you to buy me a copy of my own. Are you sure? I don't want to force you. Seriously, Yuri. I'm sure. After all, I grin at her. It is a good book. She timidly returns my smile, relaxing a little bit. I'm glad you think so. How are you liking it so far? She looks at me with wide, expectant eyes. She must be really worried that I'm not enjoying it as much as her. To be honest, I'm pleasantly surprised. While horror isn't really my thing, it really kept my attention. Even though I haven't got very far yet, I find myself feeling sorry for the protagonist. The language is pretty engaging. It certainly makes me think about it. As I praise the book, her eyes grow visibly more relieved, and her eyes light up as I mention the language. I'm glad that you think so. One only needs to look at what's being said but how it's phrased. You can entirely change the desired message, wouldn't you agree? Oh boy, I hope we don't get into an in-depth discussion about language. I'm still nowhere near Yuri's level with this sort of thing. Totally. I never really thought about it until you brought it up with me. You really made me look at it a bit more scrutiny than I would normally. She blushes at this, turning away slightly. Really? I helped you with that? I have to admit, you really managed to open my eyes to this sort of thing. Or should I say, my third eye. Yuri. Silence makes me nervous, I guess. Did I make a mistake? You know, because the book mentions a third eye and there's an eye on the cover. I see. Probably not the best to comment on your accidental continuation of the pun. Tough crowd. I see you're making a joke. I'm sorry, I didn't realize. No worries. I just thought it was a good pun. She smiles bashfully. Yes, it is quite humorous, isn't it? Phew. I think that means everything is okay now. Now that everyone's settled in, I expected Monica to kick off the scheduled activities for the club. With the poetry thing, I've already steeled myself for the critic I'll probably be receiving. But it seems like we have some downtime before then. Oh, well, looks like I won't be able to just immediately get over with it. What are the others doing right now? Sayori and Monica are having a cheery conversation in the corner, probably discussing club matters, given that they're president and vice president. As expected, Yuri's face is already buried in a book. You can't help but notice her tense expression like she's waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. A few huffs of annoyance sound from her direction every once in a while. Everyone seems to be doing their own thing today. Natsuki is rummaging around in the cupboard and Yuri is sitting by herself, slightly engrossed in her book. Meanwhile, Monica and Sayori seem to be talking animatedly about something. I'm not really in the mood to read anything. I slumped down into the nearest desk. Closing my eyes, I end up listening in on Sayori's conversation with Monica. This is new. The problem with the literature club is that it just doesn't sound particularly exciting. Because people have their own perceptions about what the club will be like. I'm a bit worried that they might assume we're all pretentious and haughty. Yeah, it's a real shame that people can't look past their assumptions. Still, I'm confident we can come up with something. We can't just give up. The festival's a real chance to show everyone what literature is all about. After all, we have such a variety here. Everyone's poems and writing styles are so different. Natsuki loves manga and Yuri really is into horror. There should be something for everyone, you know? Agreed. I'm glad everyone has such different tastes. It really helps bring the club to life. It's exactly what I want everyone else to see. Just need to find a way of showing how fun literature can be. Something that really stands out and appeals to the creative sides. That doesn't solve the problem though. What do you mean? Well, even if we come up with the most fun thing ever, I don't think people will come in the first place if it's a literature event. So I think it's more important to figure out how to get people interested in the first place, right? And then once you're there, you can do whatever to appeal to their creative sides. This is a side of Sayori I haven't seen before. She's really taking this seriously and giving it a lot of thought. Excellent point, Sayori. Where would I be without my vice president? Okay, do you think food will get the job done? I can practically hear Sayori's face light up, even though I have my eyes closed. Ooh, what kind? You like that idea, huh? I was thinking, cupcakes! Natsuki will love that. Good thinking. Your cupcakes are so good! That works out perfectly. That wasn't why you suggested it. Cupcakes speak my creative tummy. Okay, so... I was having thoughts that the intro would be different if I chose a different girl. And I think this pretty much answers my questions. I mean, in Yuri's route, we pretty much read with Yuri and pretty much got introduced to her in general. Seriously, they help you to write. Okay, cupcakes will do fine. All this talk about food has made me hungry. Anyway, don't forget we still have to sort out the details of the festival itself. I'll tune in to the rest of the conversation as the tiredness takes a stronger hold on me. Sayori is still her usual self, bubbly and goofy. I guess some people never change. Brings a smile on my face. Although I was supposed to see her I was so surprised to see her so dedicated. I always remembered as the kind of person who just improvises things. Kinda like me, actually. Hello. I didn't expect to see Sayori's face taking up my vision when I opened my eyes. I nearly fell out of my chair. Wake up, sleepyhead! Geez, Sayori, you really scared me. Sorry. Hang on. I'm not scary at all. Why are you napping? This is the village club, not the napping club. Wait, our school has a napping club? Hey, don't try to change the subject, mister. The others won't like it if it catch you sleeping, you know. I don't want you getting in trouble. Sayori, never changed one bit. Huh? You always used to look out for me. Back when you used to hang out. I remember that. Do you remember the time we went on a bike ride on the park? Feels like such a long time ago. Yeah, I think I do actually. It was in the summer. We're talking about the time I fell off my bike and hurt my knee, right? Yeah, that one. You were in a lot of pain, but you were trying to act like it was no big deal. You were so silly, I had to go and get a band-aid. But Mary feels warm and fuzzy inside. I can straight away tell which memory she was talking about. It makes me wonder if we have some kind of psychic bond or something. Good times. Good times. By the way, did you know you had a big toothpaste stain on your collar? Wait, what? Eh? No, I don't. She nervously picked up the stain with her hands as I stand up and get a closer look at her. Wait, she really does? Wait a sec, your collar is sticking up a bit. Your hair doesn't look brushed either. Were you in a rush this morning? I reached out and run my fingers down the messy part of her hair in a vain attempt to straighten it out. Her hair is really soft and smells faintly of cinnamon. I'm probably making it worse. You really need to brush, Sayori. No, I don't. My hair is just naturally like this. Okay, maybe it isn't, but it is super hard to get it right. I give up with her hair and try to wipe off the stain with my fingers. Much like her hair, I'm not having much luck. Come on, Sayori, you can't fool me. I know I haven't seen much of you over the past few years, but I still know you. I can tell when you've been in a rush. People wouldn't even notice these things. They would. They just wouldn't say anything because they don't want to embarrass you. That's very true. I give up with the stain and step back looking at her blazer. But looking for you, I'm not bothering about that. Also, why don't you bottom out your blazer? She shrugs. It was too stuffy last time I tried. With a sigh, I start buttoning it up. This is so funny. What is? Well, I was just thinking about how weird it is to have a friend who does these kinds of things. I freeze. Now that I think about it, the situation is a little suggestive. We got some lewds on the Yuri route. Are we gonna get lewds in Sayori's route too? After all, my hands are very close to her chest, which I never really understand. There are 3 other girls in the club room and we're here with our hands practically on top of her chest. Come on, Midas, get it together. You're helping out a friend, that's all. Don't say that. There's nothing weird about this. If you say so. It's okay though. I'm happy we're like this. Makes you feel like nothing has really changed between us. What do you think? Yeah. I guess. Why is this one button so hard to close? Hey, be careful. This one's impossible. Does this thing even fit you properly? Did when I bought it. You know, if you actually button it, you'd probably have realized sooner that it doesn't fit you anymore. Wait, what's so funny? Don't you see? It means my boobs got bigger again! Still a weird thing to say to a friend, Sayori. How on earth am I meant to be blocking it out? Geez, Sayori, don't say that out loud. Anyway, you look a bit better now. Seeing Sayori's blazer buttoned up like this feels awkward. It's so stuffy. I told you. She quickly unbuttons it again. There goes all my hard work. Much better. Thank you for that though. Even though I prefer the blazer unbuttoned, it was really thoughtful of you to do this for me. Even if you were a bit of a meanie. I do try, you know. I'm sorry. I just want what's best for you, that's all. Just try to give yourself a bit more time in the morning, okay? Only if you promise to start napping in the club. Or stop napping in the club, rather. Sorry. I laugh. She got me there. It's a deal. Okay, everyone. Monica suddenly calls out, why don't we share the poems you wrote now? Yay! I can't wait to read yours, Midas. And I can't wait for you to read mine. Don't expect too much, Sayori. By the way, you did remember to write a poem, right? Don't worry, I'm not that much of a slacker. I got it right here in my bag. I rifled through some stray papers to pull out the page that I wrote my poem on. Well, I can't help but feel a little nervous. I have to admit that I'm excited now. Talking to these girls has really calmed my nerves, and now I'm just as eager to share my poem. But after all, judging by each girl's personality, I know that anyone would say anything nasty about it. Well, maybe Natsuki. Maybe Natsuki. Well, I guess she is just the type of person who enjoys ribbing on her friends. Either way, I hope they realize that they put hard work into it. I figured that it'll only be fair to repay their warm welcome by showing effort in club activities. Now that everyone's ready, why don't you find someone to share with? I can't wait! Sayori and Monica enthusiastically pull out the poems. Sayori is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. On the other hand, Monica wrote hers in a neat black composition notebook. I can already see Monica's pristine handwriting from where I sit. She's gonna put us all to shame. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. Well, from my first playthrough, I pretty much did Monica first, since she's the president and all, then the second girl, then the girl that I'm going for. So I'll probably do the same step. Monica first, Natsuki second, Yuri third, considering I did her route already, and then Sayori. I should start with Monica. Yesterday she seemed eager to read my poem, and I'm honored to know that I'm putting effort. Hi Midas. Hope you've been enjoying your time here. Yeah, definitely. I probably sound like a broken record by now, but everyone's been really welcoming. Well, a broken record isn't so bad when you play something so nice. I guess so. Anyway, since you're new and everything, feel free to bring up any questions or concerns you might have. It's my duty as club president to make sure that everything is perfect. I'd have to say that you've been doing a good job of that already. I doubt I'll ever have anything to complain about. Either way, I'm always open to new suggestions for the club as well. So don't be afraid to bring up these things, okay? Alright, I'll keep that in mind. She says that, but it's gonna be a bit intimidating trying to criticize Monica of all people. I really don't think that there's going to be anything I'll need to speak up about either. But if the other girls would probably say something before I ever needed to. Natsuki definitely would. Now that that's out of the way, feel like sharing a poem with me. I mean, I don't really have a choice in that matter now, do I? Aha! You shouldn't be thinking really about that. Yeah, I was just joking. Kinda. It's alright, Midas. I guess that's probably really awkward for you to share something creative when you're just a beginner. Especially since the rest of us have a bit more experience than you do. That's an understatement. Don't worry though. We're all embarrassed today. So, I don't think many people out there share their poetry on a regular basis. But it's that sort of thing that you get used to pretty quickly once you get over it. Yeah, that's true. I hand my poem over with a sigh. Don't grade me too harshly. You'll be fine. I watch nervously as she quickly scans through my poem. Interesting poem, Midas. It's very mellow, yet emotional to feel. That's an emotional feel. I didn't know you were this in tune with your feelings, Midas. I can feel my cheeks growing hot as her teasing. You think? No need to feel embarrassed about this. Poetry is a very personal thing, so it's not surprising to see you putting your raw emotions down on paper. Actually, your poem reminds you of something Sayori would write. Yes! Really? How so? I mean, you and Sayori are really good friends, right? It shouldn't be too far-fetched for you two to write similarly. Well, I guess you could say we used to be good friends at least. kinda drifted apart over the years, so I guess it surprises me that we could still have things like this in common. This club is a perfect opportunity to become closer again, don't you think? I guess so. Anyway, much like yours, Sayori's writing tends to have a gentle feel to it. She often uses her words to quietly meander through her imagination to explore different emotions. Most of the time, I find that she addresses happiness and sadness in equal amounts, creating a bittersweet note. Wow, it's kind of unexpected of her. Maybe she's changed more throughout the years than I thought. I know, right? Who knew that someone so happy would enjoy the pain of tragedy as well? You know, sometimes you sound like Yuri when you talk about poetry. Really? Why are you mad? Yeah, I guess you really like it, huh? You could say that. It'd really make me happy if you could get into her poetry as well. No pressure, right? For real though, feel free to explore different things and experiment. Maybe you'll find yourself writing in a way you never would have thought you would, just like Sayori does. Yeah, I'm sure I'll end up doing a lot of different things before I settle on my own style. And it'll still take a while before I'm completely comfortable sharing my writing. That's perfectly fine. In fact, I'd probably be more surprised if you immediately started writing with your own style. Most people go through the same process that you're going through right now. Trying new things is the best way to find the kind of style that suits you after all. Anyway, when you talk about to everyone about it, naturally, they'll feel a bit biased towards their kinds of styles. After all, I know I am, but don't force yourself to write in some way just because someone else wants you to. You should try to focus on what you want to do. Feel free to ask for any help though. I'll try to be as objective as possible when I talk to people about these topics. Thanks. Keep that in mind, Monica. Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be good. Well, that's because I have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know. Always on duty as club president, huh? Heh. Well, let's get to the reading then. It's all pretty much the same as my first playthrough, so nothing pretty much new. This is all pretty much just Monica trying to say that she's trapped here, and well, I don't need to explain how sad that can be. So, what do you think? I don't quite know how to say it. Sorry, I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback. It's okay. I definitely get a certain kind of feeling from reading your poem. I'm not sure how to put it into words. I can understand that. Just try to articulate it however you want. You can use metaphors outside of poetry, you know. Well, when you put it like that, I don't know. I'd say that your poem is kind of abstract. Very vague at least. Like I can't quite tell what you're exactly pointing out. But even so, I can feel what the speaker's feeling. Yeah, I think that describes my poem pretty well. Really? I do like my metaphors. Well, you'd probably be hard-pressed to find a poem without metaphors, actually. Yeah, they're pretty well covered in English class at least. The ability to convey emotions and concepts through words, describing things even the writer might have not experienced before. I find that really powerful. When you write it metaphorically, it allows the reader to focus on the emotions in the poem. I guess it kind of opens up for the reader to have their own interpretations. Exactly. It's fascinating when people can diverge from the creator's original intent to find their own meaning in the work of art. Yeah. What was your original intent then? I think it'd be more fun if you tried to figure it out yourself. Well, I pretty much figured it out already. That just makes me more curious now. Maybe I'll tell you one day. Maybe one day. But for now, here's Monica's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or anything, for that matter, you get too fixated on a specific point. If you try so hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. So the best thing to do is not force yourself to get something down on paper and then just tidy it up later. Or just force yourself rather. Another way to think about it is, if you keep your pen on the same spot for too long, you'll get a big dark puddle of ink. So just move your hand and write whatever is in your heart. Easier said than done. I get what she's trying to say though. It's better to look back on your work with fresh eyes after you've gotten something down sometimes. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening. Alright, time for Natsuki. Well, it's about what I expected from someone like you. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? What I mean is it's just kinda average. Well, I did slip a few words for you. Because I kinda thought they were Sayori words. This really invoked my emotions. Or any emotions for that matter. So kinda bland for your tastes. Natsuki furrows her eyebrows at me. My tastes? What's that supposed to mean, huh? Oh, nothing. Sigh. Well anyway, I guess I'll show you my poem now. Not that you'll like it or anything. Much the same. Told you you'd hate it. Actually, I liked it. What? Don't say that just because I'm a girl. Be honest. No, it has nothing with you being a girl. I genuinely like the poem. Really? Yeah, it's simple, but it's pretty effective. Don't throw your eyebrows like that, you're just so cute. Finally, someone who gets it. People in high school will think poetry has to be so formal and vague. But people don't realize that simple writing is just as effective, if not more. The reader shouldn't have to search for the meaning. That's just stupid. Besides, the simpler the writing, the more emphasis on wordplay. Like how I made most of the lines start with some. Yeah, I did notice that. Made the last couplets seem more powerful. Yes, that's exactly what I was going for. Well, good job then. Huh, didn't expect that from the youngest in the club, did ya? Yeah, guess not. And apparently I didn't expect that you were canonically younger than most of us. Yuri scans my poem with your eyes with a blank expression on her face. So how is it? Sorry, I suppose as far as poetry goes, it's not bad. But I'm not immensely impressed by it. Yuri turns away shamefully. I didn't mean for that to sound so blunt. Don't worry about it. I didn't take it that way. Makes you say that. Yuri stares at the poem. A minute passes, more than enough time for her to finish reading. Is everything okay, Yuri? Oh, goodness, sorry. I know what I want to convey, but I need to find the right words. I understand. Take your time, Yuri. Okay, I think I know what I want to say. Do you have any prior writing experience? To be honest, not really. Is it that obvious? I didn't mean to be rude, but I guess it might be after reading through it. So I guess it's that bad. No! Did I just raise my voice? I'm so sorry. Yuri buries her face in her hands. I couldn't help but notice that it's been several minutes and we haven't really gotten anywhere. Yuri seems to be incredibly introverted. Must take her a long time to warm up to new people. Don't you worry about it. We all start somewhere, right? What were you saying? Right, I just noticed a few qualities consistent with newer writers that showed in your poem. Perhaps what stands out the most is that you tried very hard to make the structure of this poem your own. And that's okay. But if this is your first poem you've written, it might be prudent to consider more traditional structures, couplets, sonnets, haiku, and the like. If you're not confident in your writing style, it'll show in your piece. It's like Yuri is a totally different person when she gets going. She sounds really confident and stands tall, speaking clearly. Again, it's not your fault. I think that once you've gotten and studied poetic structures and techniques a bit more, you'll be able to put together a truly wonderful composition. I appreciate the feedback, Yuri. It sounds like you're well versed in this sort of thing. Would it be okay if I took a look at what you've written? Oh goodness, of course. Please let me know what you think. I'll be thrilled to explain my process. Yuri smiles dreamily as if it's a rare opportunity for her. Which itself is kinda funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? Ah, Tombo. I'm having memories of Fury's route. Given that I just did it recently. But still, it was pretty good. So I hope Sayori's route is just the same. I'm sorry if my writing's a bit illegible. Your writing is actually my favorite one out of all the club members. Once my pen touches the page, I just want to get my thoughts down. It's fine, Yuri. I was able to read it just fine. I wasn't thinking about that at all. Are you sure? It seemed to take you a while to read it. Maybe because it's long, Yuri. Well, I guess I don't see cursive often. But it's really nice when you do. Your writing's actually quite pretty. Is that so? I'm glad you think so. It made your poem stand out even more as well. It's as though your handwriting fits your word choice or vice versa. Wasn't too short now, wasn't it? I'm used to writing longer pieces, but since this is the first time we're sharing, I thought it would be easier to share. That makes sense. Do you mind telling me what's it about though? I'm not sure I understand. Sorry, I didn't mean to write something so confusing. Oh, it's not that. I just want to be sure I'm writing it or I'm reading it properly. I see. I suppose from a cursory glance it might not be obvious, but part of what makes this poetry magical is how you can conjure up a vivid image in your words. Or with your words, rather. While on the surface it might seem a bit out there, if you look a little deeper, you might be able to find deeper meaning hidden amongst the lines, compounded by the metaphors used. For example, the words and images in this poem aren't meant to be taken at face value. In actuality, it's supposed to represent the last remnants of something lost to the past. The sense of plaintive longing that comes with it. Huh, that's pretty impressive when you put it that way. I wouldn't go that far, but thanks for the compliment. Hopefully during your time here you'll understand poetry will grow. Your understanding of poetry will grow. And these things will come to you naturally. I'll do my best. Thank you for sharing with me, Yuri. Of course. Alright, it's showtime. Wow, Midas. This is so good. And I'm happy you're happy, Sayori. Seriously, this is your first poem? Huh? It's not that good, jeez. Seriously, it is. I love it. I had no idea you were such a good poet. Sayori, you're overacting a bit, but it's really nothing special. Trust me, it is. How did you write it? What do you mean? Like, what did you think of while you wrote this? You? If that makes sense. This is gonna sound a bit weird, but I thought of you. We really said it. That's so cute. She gives me a look of disbelief, a faint blush on her cheeks. Me? Yeah. Not like in a weird way or anything. I just thought of the words that reminded me of you and went along with that. Just felt kinda natural doing it that way, I guess. But if it works, it works. Looks like this club is really the best place for you. As much as I like your praise, it's not exactly helpful. I'm no master of poetry and I kinda need to know how to get better. Well, seems like she doesn't need for you to get better. Yuri's opinion was way more constructive than this. Well, I'm glad you liked it, Sayori. Good to know I'm not totally in over my head here, haha. She looks at me for a moment, not saying anything. There's a few moments of odd silence. Turn to Sayori. She jumps slightly. Sorry, I'm just not used to seeing you around again, that's all. Have you in a club writing poems? It's lovely though. It just takes a little getting used to. Yeah, that's understandable. I'm a bit surprised myself, to be honest. But I'm enjoying it here so far. That's good to hear. Do you wanna read my poem now? Not very good though. What do you want me to find out? Pretty much the same. Well, what do you think? I hesitate as I answer. It's not that it's a bad poem. In fact, it was great. I'm just really inexperienced with poetry, especially feedback. It's really you. What's that supposed to mean? As in, the poem just really reminds me of you. It made me feel really good inside. Really? Yeah, I had no idea what to expect, as this is my first time reading your poetry. But in the way it was written, I don't know, it feels really wholesome and cheery. Like you are. I also kinda like the last... I also really like the last line. Just you of all people to include breakfast in their poems. I was eating when I wrote... You basically trapped yourself, Sayori. Sayori stops speaking immediately, as if she accidentally let something slip. Oh, so you wrote this poem this morning? No. Well, maybe. I forgot to write it last night. Well, at least we know where your inspiration comes from. Eggs and toast. Well, I suppose it sounds silly, but if it works, then it isn't silly. Either way, thanks for showing me your poem, Sayori. It was really good. I'm happy you think so. Anyways, next time I won't forget. Tomorrow's poem will be even better. I'll hold you to that. Whew. I guess that's everyone. I glance around the room. That was surprisingly fun, albeit a bit stressful. I already know I wouldn't be able to write to the quality of the other girls, but I tried my best. Everyone here is incredibly talented. Well, all the girls at least. Across the room, Sayori and Monica are happily chatting again. Here we go, you two. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper, sharing their respective poems. As I watch, Natsuki breezes through Yuri's poem, her eyes skipping over the words. To comment on the ending of Yuri's route, I really loved their dynamic. Meanwhile, Yuri stares at the paper in her hands, smiling sadly. I really liked that the two ended up being best friends. Natsuki quickly hands Yuri her poem back. Here, done. Already? Yeah, it was not super hard to read. I'm not illiterate, you know. Huh. It was hard for me to understand at least. I just want to make sure you caught all the figurative language that I employed. Well, she did and dumpstered it. Yeah, I did. It was fancy. Thanks. However, I believe that you'd enjoy it more if you looked deeper into it. I've enjoyed it aplenty already. And basically, she didn't. Anyway, are you finished with my poem then? Yes. Yours is cute. Cute? Didn't you learn anything from our conversation yesterday? Yuri looks shocked, regret seeping into her expression. Seems like both girls still hold their respective prejudices, despite whatever common ground they have. How can it be cute? You're standing there talking or thinking that I haven't read your poem when it's actually you who hasn't read my poem. It's clearly about the push and pull between giving up and trying hard. I know that. I just meant the language, I guess. Well, maybe you should look deeper into my poem, because I use that type of language on purpose. I see. But if I may give a suggestion, these more involved subject matters may be better suited to more complex diction. The art of poetry is deeply intertwined with... Look, I know what you're trying to do, but it won't work on me. I'm sorry, but I don't quite understand. Writing in this way doesn't make you look cool or smart, okay? It just makes you look super pretentious. If you write with a thesaurus open next to you, you're just going to alienate everyone. Using all these big words to make up for the lack of depth. Poetry isn't about impressing people. So can you just stop? Holy crap. Is there wide-eyed at Monica and Sayori, who has now fallen silent also? They stare back at me, looking unsure of what to do. I'm guessing that they don't usually have many arguments in the club. Well, the tensions between Natsuki and Yuri are already seem kinda high. Lack of depth. Yeah, that's right. So if I can give some suggestions now. Excuse me. I appreciate the offer, but I must really ask. What makes you believe that I'll accept your advice after you've been so rude to me? Huh? Rude? That was just blunt honesty. Do you ever consider that other people don't hold the same opinions as you? What are you trying to say? Do I really need to spell it out for you? Yeah, you do. I want to see if you're really going there. The irony. I dare you to say it. Yuri gives me a laugh. A small laugh of disbelief. I must thank you, Natsuki. I've never been this angry in my life. It's actually giving me the courage to speak up. This is why you're angry all the time. Guys, you shouldn't. This doesn't involve you. Sayori, please don't rob me of my moment. The fact that you called it your moment. So this is your moment to shine or something. Strange thing to take pride on, don't you think? No, it's my moment to finally speak my mind. While I still have the strength to. Yuri... Natsuki, have you realized how selfish you actually are? Suddenly, Yuri seems to be overpowering everyone else in the room. What? Everyone always needs to go your way. Or everything, rather, needs to always go your way. You always jump to conclusions, make rash decisions without regard for the consequences. And it's never your fault, is it? You don't know me. No. You don't know me either. And yet you spoke as if you knew something or you knew everything about me. Quite simply, you don't. The very fact that you don't think that your blunt honesty was incredibly rude just shows how narrow-minded you truly are. Seizing her moment, Yuri boldly carries on, disdain dripping from each of her words. I know it must be a difficult concept for you to understand, but the whole world doesn't revolve around you and your manga. So tell me, why should I take advice from someone who can only see their own perspective? Nah, everyone knows it. Monica, Sayori, and even Midas. Don't you remember how hostile you were when Midas first joined us? I wasn't being hostile. We haven't had a member in a long time. Sorry for not keeping on my toes. And that's not how I talk to everyone. Or that's how I talk to everyone, rather. Not just Midas. Am I supposed to change my whole personality to cater to how you think I should be? If Midas has a problem with my jokes, he can tell me. You don't need to speak for him. Yuri closes her eyes and shakes her head, carrying on as if she didn't hear the outburst. Do you really expect a new member to be able to speak up so easily? Not everyone is unafraid of being a brutish cretin as you. What? The rest of us were so excited to have a new member, but did that thought ever cross your mind? No, you just let your own selfish thoughts dictate your behavior. Selfish? They once said you could have scared them off. That might have been what you wanted. But what about the rest of us? I just explained myself, for God's sake. But as per usual, you aren't listening. You know, for someone who's been ranting about how narrow-minded I am, you're pretty intolerant yourself. There, I used a big word. Do I sound like Shakespeare yet? Am I worthy of your attention now? Ouch. Both girls have their claws out. Also, Monica and Sayori didn't have any issue with me yesterday. It's just you. Of course they did not see, they just didn't say anything. Monica's too responsible and Sayori's too kind. So no, why don't we ask Midas then, as the more unbiased spectator? Fine. Midas was right, me or Yuri? How did they get dragged into this in the first place? They didn't even know what they want me to decide on at this point. Should I just ignore all the personal stuff and just talk about their poetry? That's what started the argument after all. But it's not like I'm a good judge of writing quality given that I'm just a beginner. I didn't think it would be fair for me to take either side either, especially since I'm new here. Maybe I should defer to one of the club members. Ah, thank goodness. From what I can recall, it was either Yuri or Natsuki, but thank goodness. Who do I choose though? Who do I choose? I don't really know who to choose. Is it going to be Natsuki or is it going to be Sayori? I don't really know, but I'm just going to go with my gut and go with Sayori. I hate being put on the spot like this. Both Yuri and Natsuki are looking at me. While their hostility isn't aimed at me, I still feel like I'm a target for the anger in their eyes. I gulp nervously as a bead of sweat trickles down my neck. I'm not really the best judge of this. After all, I'm new, so I'm painfully aware of how weak my voice sounds. Neither girl looks impressed. Wow, real help you are. Natsuki. Let me guess, blah blah blah, you're being so rude, you're a broken record, Yuri, shut up. Ah, so you're finally realizing how insolent you are. Got there in the end, well done. You're really such a Stop! Okay, so we didn't really need to call her out, I guess. We're all stunned into silence. I've never heard Sayori angry? Sayori is angry? Even Natsuki looks taken aback. Immediately, the anger in Sayori's face is replaced by a flood of tears, the anger rushing away and giving way to sadness. Guys, enough of this. Please. You're tearing apart this club. Please don't do this. I love this place so much and you guys are both my friends. I hate it when people fight. It's horrible. This place means so much to me. And I know it means a lot to you guys as well. So please, can we stop arguing over whose style is better? It doesn't even matter. You're both unique and that's what counts. Thank goodness. Yuri and Natsuki are both looking incredibly ashamed of themselves. I guess neither of them expected that their argument would hurt Sayori so much. That once raging fire has begun to snuff out, replaced with smothering embers. I really like your simple style, Natsuki. It's so nice to sit down and read a poem that springs to life. And I know the others do as well. Monica and I nod in interest, or in earnest rather, putting a small smile on Natsuki's face. And Yuri, I'm amazed at how complex and deep your poems are. They're really in-depth. But there's no need to argue over which style is better. You can't really compare them anyway, it depends on what mood you're in. She's right, guys. Sometimes you're just in the mood for something simple. Sometimes you might want something a bit more complex. It's like music or movies. People like a variety of things. You can't really say that comedy as a genre is better than action, can you? Both types appeal to different things. You wouldn't watch an action movie for the laughs, would you? I look over to Sayori and give her a reassuring smile. She turns with a watery smile of her own, rubbing her tears away. You said it, Midas. She turns to face Yuri and Natsuki once more. Now, both of you said some stuff that was pretty mean, but I know neither of you meant it. Neither of you are narrow-minded. Although it would be nice if you could, like, each other's stuff a bit more. So could you try doing that a little? Please? For me? For the club? I can't help but laugh as she puts on puppy eyes. I don't think she realizes the right time to use them. Sure, whatever, I'll try. Yuri takes a deep breath, finally lifting her eyes off the floor. You're right, Sayori. I'll also make more of an effort. And Natsuki? What? Natsuki still looks a bit defiant, as though expecting another insult from Yuri. I apologize for what I said. Your style has its own merits. Natsuki blinks as though slapped in the face. She clearly wasn't expecting an apology. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Your style is... She diverts her eyes downward once more. I guess what I'm trying to say is you're right pretty well. I shouldn't have said that stuff. Me neither. There's an awkward silence. That's much better, guys. Thank you for putting your differences aside. We all really appreciate it. I'll go and make some tea. She rushes off as Natsuki wanders to the closet. I glanced over at Monica. She hasn't said a word throughout the whole argument, which surprised me. I should have been the one who said all that. Why didn't you then? I winced as the words leave my mouth. They sounded more accusatory than I would have liked. Well, I know I'm the leader and I run this club and I'm not the greatest with people. I frowned. If she isn't great with people, how can she run a club? She must have caught the confusion on my face as she hastened to explain. Let me rephrase that. I'm fine with people. It's just their drama that I can't really deal with. Well, that's why you have Sayori, right? She's an excellent vice president, alright. Able to deal with conflict much better than I can. Which is pretty embarrassing, at least for me. That should have been my duty to deal with, not hers. I don't blame you, seriously. That was pretty tough to get involved. I could barely speak up. True, but that's exactly the sort of thing that a president should be able to deal with. Come on, Monica, don't see it like that. You and Sayori just have different strengths, that's all. I always thought of her as a little ditzy sometimes, but she definitely has a knack for social situations. Definitely. I'm grateful to have her as my vice president. Well, both of you do a really good job running this place. I know it's a bit of an early assessment, but you know, first impressions and all. She smiled sweetly at me, causing my stomach to knot. You're too kind, Midas. I'm glad Sayori brought you along to the club. I really do hope you stick around. Don't you worry, I will. Monica seems like a genuine person, and she makes a great president regardless of what she might think. I hope my choice didn't affect the route. Hopefully I'll be able to properly get to know her during school year. Okay everyone, it's just about time for us to leave. How did you all feel about sharing your poetry today? I noticed that she carefully avoids mentioning the argument that just occurred. It was a lot of fun. Some moments were worth it. Well, it was alright. Mostly. Midas, how about you? I actually enjoyed myself. It seems I do like expressing myself through poetry, a lot more than I initially thought. Everyone looks intently at me, the girls smiling at me. It was really cool getting to see everyone's different writing styles. That's awesome! In that case, we'll do the same thing tomorrow. And hopefully you'll learn something from us too. So our poems will turn out even better. Yeah, I think to myself as I begin to pack up. Today I managed to learn a little more about the kinds of poems that everyone likes. With any luck, I'll be able to learn more about the girls as individuals through their themes and messages. I nod to myself, turning to Sayori. Ready to walk home, Sayori? Sure. Okay, see you guys tomorrow then. As we leave the club room, Sayori turns back to wave at the girls, and I do the same. Natsuki smiles at me and quickly looks away to act like she doesn't care. Yuri awkwardly smiles and nods. As expected from the school idol, Monica gives a friendly grin and waves back. Sayori, about what happened earlier? What do you mean? You know, between Yuri and Natsuki? I remember you told me yesterday that they sometimes bicker, but are all their arguments normally that bad? I feel a little guilty as I ask her, as I know she doesn't like talking about conflict. There's a slight dip in her cheeriness of her voice as she replies, Not at all. They have their differences, but it's the first time I've ever seen them fight like that. They're both wonderful people, I promise. You don't hate them or anything now, do you? Not at all. It's only normal for people to argue, I guess. I was just curious after all. You know them better than I do. Sayori lets out a relieved sigh. You know, Midas, it's been so nice seeing you again. I didn't really think we'd get to spend much time together, but once again. Tell me about it. It's been really fun hanging out again. I don't really know when we started drifting away, or why. Guess it was just life coming between us? She nods, looking a little reflective. Still, I'm glad you let me join your club. I'm not going to lie, at first I was a bit doubtful when you told me it was about literature. But hey, I guess it just goes to show you that I shouldn't judge a book by its cover. She giggles and I frown. Did I say something funny? Nice pun. Did you even realize? Pun? Ah, you mean about the book comment. Oh, and it's a literature club. Ha ha ha, we didn't notice our own pun. Geez, looks like the club's really starting to rub off on me, isn't it? Sorry, I might be a bit of an airhead, but sometimes she can really notice that things that others don't. I wonder, what's it really like inside her head? You haven't changed at all, Midas. You always know how to make me laugh. I blush slightly. I've never really known how to react to such a compliment, especially when it comes from someone of the opposite sex. I'm glad I'm still able to do that. I'll be honest though, I didn't think I'd make so many new friends by joining the club. Well, they're a nice bunch. I'm not really surprised. Yeah, pretty warm welcome. She nods contentedly. Anyway, let's see what the future holds. I'll see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, son. These girls are all interesting characters, aren't they? Different personalities and a variety of fighting styles. Yet they're all united under the same club. I briefly wonder how Monica found all of them. In just 2 days, I feel like we've made progress with each member. Getting to know Yuri and Natsuki, actually getting to talk to Monica a little bit. And of course, reuniting with an old friend. I never would have guessed that this would all come from joining the club. But hey, not complaining. Let's just hope my writing improves over time so I can write poems to to a standard more like theirs. Speaking of which, there's work to be done. Let's do this.